We're all born into different circumstances, and as such, some of us are left better off than others. For a very long time, I believed that because of my less than ideal situation, that I couldn't be the best version of myself that I wanted to be. I remember, even through the worst moments of my life, feeling helpless, like everyone had control over what I could do except for me, and I could only wonder when that would change. The thing about helplessness is that more often than not, it's a state of mind. We plant seeds of resentment in ourselves, and we allow ourselves to think that the people around us and the people who have authority over us have the means to control our entire reality. And we render ourselves useless to the goings-on in and out of our lives. However, regardless of how helpless we may feel, there is always room to plant seeds of hope and seeds of change that set you up for success and that can change whatever toxic cycles you've been subjected to. In the 3rd grade, the majority of my friendships were unhealthy. We spent more time berating and harassing each other than we did playing and making pretend like kids should. I used to have a slouched posture and a stomach that stuck out through my shirts, and my friends used to call me names and ask me when the baby was coming. They controlled my self-image, and as a result, I began to see myself as someone who wasn't worthy of their attention. It got so bad that in the 5th grade, I had to move schools. And even then, that seed of resentment continued to grow until I became the one who called people names. I became the one who made fun of the way people looked. And I became the one who couldn't regard anything positive when it came to others. Soon enough, my friends at this new school realized that I may not even be conscious of my own hypocrisy. I was told one night that they were drawing the line, and that they'd already talked to the principal about me, and if I continued, they were going to talk to him again. I cried myself to sleep. I realized that night that by doing the little things, a few snarky comments here and there, pointing out small flaws every day, I had run myself back through a vicious cycle of bullying, where the bullied often become the bullied. It took a while, but slowly I had to break this cycle. I decided that every day when I was about to say something that didn't need to be said, I had to think about a positive aspect of the person that I was about to insult, or even try to remember what I had to do for homework that night. Over a long period of time, each and every single one of my friendships strengthened. And I found that it felt a lot better to process my anger with something productive or distracting than to take it out on others the way that it had been so brutally taken out on me. The thing about that is, it's a matter of decisions, not circumstances. We decide what we want to do with the toxic cycles in our life. We can relive them and perpetuate them, or we can rise above them. So, in the 7th grade, after moving to the US, I managed to get used to new people, meet new friends, get used to a new school, and start living in a new country. Yet that summer, before the 8th grade, I had to face another one of the toxic cycles in my life, one of mistreatment and a lack of self-worth. You see, as a young girl, I had made many a visit to see my family in Jamaica, where I was born. And I was always excited to go until I got there, and no one was nearly as kind to me as I'd hoped they would be. That summer, I'd finally received the choice of whether or not I could go. And it was something I'd been dreaming of. But all of the friends that I had just met in this new country had their birthdays in the summer, and I wanted to be there for them. I begged, and I tried to compromise. Until one day, I got a phone call from a family member. His answer was no, because according to him, my friends, my happiness, were not an excuse not to see him. And he had plenty of insults, threats, and choice words to send me back through another downward spiral. Throughout the 8th grade, my self-esteem and my mental health deteriorated until my freshman year, I hit the bottom of this spiral. It was on a Saturday at a band competition, and at the end of our performance, after a long day, I had one lingering thought, the feeling that I'd done a horrible job. Everything that had been said to me, all of the mistreatment, all of the anger came rushing back until I began to cry, and I began to breathe faster and faster and faster and faster until I was hyperventilating and I was convinced that I was dying. It was the first of many panic attacks that I would have over my 4 years here at Amador. It was that night, on the bus ride home, that I realized the power of small things to change your entire reality, including the decisions you make. For so long, my reality was something dark and uncontrollable until I decided that things needed to change. I decided to start taking better care of myself. I decided to stop comparing myself to others. And most importantly, I realized that I had to understand that this notion that I had to be the product of what had happened to me in the past serviced no one, and it needed to end. Slowly but surely, I became more confident in myself and in what I can do. And I understand now that how others perceive me doesn't actually reflect who I am as a person. In retrospect, I only became the worst version of myself because I believed that I didn't have a choice, when in reality, we always have a choice. Now, I'm not here to tell you that the world is full of sunshine and rainbows if you put them there. That isn't what I've learned from any of this. What I have learned is that through all of the uncontrollable things that will happen to you, you decide what you want to do in the aftermath. You can let seeds of hate grow, or you can plant seeds of hope and change that set you up for success in the future. To me, these are things that inspire self-confidence. It's important to know who I am, flaws and all, and be proud of that as well. To you, that might mean something else. But one way or another, it's important to acknowledge your past while also understanding that you have complete control over your future. It is always up to you to decide. Thank you.